Hello, everybody, and welcome back to NCAA 2004. We are officially back with some offseason here for the Alabama Crimson Tide, but we are looking over the national champion, which went to Fresno State, by the way. Fresno State wins the Fiesta Bowl and beats Texas. That is Texas' first time back since year number 4 in the sim, and this is Fresno State's first. So if you've ever played these games, you know that Fresno State is one of those weird schools that just always seems to be good, man. I think they were good at the time, but maybe not that good. So, but speaking of good, man, Jesse Allison has a season over 4,000 passing yards, 38 touchdowns, even runs the football pretty well, almost 400 yards on the ground, and 8 rushing touchdowns for your quarterback is pretty nice. So what? That's 46 total touchdowns. I mean, that is just ridiculous. And Ryan Barton, our backup quarterback, who will probably start next year, only gets a little bit of action this year. We don't see a whole lot of him. J.J. Wright doesn't have as good of a year as I thought he would have. 10 touchdowns is fine, though. We will absolutely take that. There's not a whole lot else around in terms of rushing that we can really look at. Scotty Mitchell does eclipse the 1,000-yard mark. I wasn't sure if he was going to. It is his least productive season, but still, it gets him over that touchdown mark for the career record, which is kind of cool to see. Thomas Samples isn't as productive as I also thought he was. I thought he would at least get to the 1,000-yard mark, but he didn't. Jody Quinn also has a little bit of a step down here, kind of in between where he was in his first couple seasons and his absolute heights. And so, really looking around the numbers here, there's not a lot that's super impressive. Even Max Price didn't really do a whole lot this year, kind of similar to where he was last year. And Carl Mann has his best season, but doesn't even get a single touchdown. So kind of a difficult year in a lot of offensive areas here. Our offensive line had pretty productive years. Matt Marsh has a great season, finally as a starter. Same with Jimmy McKenzie as well. Charles Gregory has a nice year at center in his senior season. So, we got good production from the O-line, but not a whole lot offensively that we can really sink our teeth into. T.D. Dixon leads the team in tackles with 72, and then there's a lot of guys with double digits in the TFL column, man. There's like 7 guys with all over 10 TFLs, but Pete Barron has the most at 17, with T.D. Dixon at 15, and a couple guys tied at 14 here. And now the sack number is a little bit interesting here because we have a couple guys coming in with about 8 sacks on the year here. And then as we look at interceptions, I believe we're going to have a different leader in the INT category. Harold Frazier with 4 is going to lead the charge here. So that is how the defensive numbers stack up. And then John Bellamy has the exact same season this year as he did last year, just an added attempt. It's very weird. It even matches the 51-yard long, which I thought was funny. But taking a look over to the SEC here, it's kind of a weird bag here. Arkansas comes in at 7-6, but finishes 6-2 in conference. Finishes just behind us at 7-6. Man, what a weird year that the SEC had, man. South Carolina at 10-3 ends up finishing 5th in the conference, and then Mississippi State once again struggling to win any games at all. The SEC East once again a little bit consistent here, but there is a little bit more of a top and bottom happening. And then same in the SEC West, how you have us and LSU kind of at the top here, but no one else can really hang on, even though Arkansas had themselves a nice, weird season. So now, looking at the top 25, Fresno State topping things off along with Southern Miss, Virginia Tech, and Michigan, and then Texas rounding at the top 5. We come in at 6 for some reason. We don't even move at all, which I think is weird. Ohio State doesn't move either, stands at 7. Colorado State at 8. Notre Dame not moving either. A&M moves up to 10th. Oregon moves up to 11th. Oklahoma State moves up to 12th. South Carolina all the way up to 13. A lot of movers right in the top 15. Penn State drops to 14. LSU drops to 15, Oklahoma at 16, West Virginia at 17, Air Force, Miami, UCLA up to 20, and Tennessee and Oregon State sneak into the rankings here in the top 25, and USC just barely hangs on here with a 4-loss season, dropping down to 25. So it is now time to move into the offseason festivities and look at who is leaving, and of course, Jesse Allison, after his best QB award-winning season, he's looking to leave, but also Blaine Bolden is looking to leave, oddly enough, and then T.D. Dixon is looking to leave after leading our defense in production in a few different metrics. So no one is really looking to stay outside of T.D. Dixon. He's kind of leaning towards stay, but I don't think it's enough to really invest the points. So we're probably just going to let all 3 of these guys go. Jesse Allison was never going to stay with us, but elsewhere on the roster, man, it is a really tough year. So Marquise Houston, our starting fullback, is gone. Jody Quinn and Scotty Mitchell, our top 2 receivers, gone. Carl Mann, starting tight end, gone. Half of the starters on our offensive line, gone. Pete Barron, gone. Both of our safeties here, Isaac Tyler and Mario Hughes, both of them gone. So it's not a huge class leaving once again here, but it's all starters, all very important people, all people that we absolutely need on this team moving forward. So I don't know how we were supposed to replace that, but we're going to get a look here at a recruiting class and see exactly how we at least attempted to do that. So we pick up the number 4 guard in the country, the number 1 outside linebacker here, a couple top-ranked receivers in the country here, even the 10th-ranked receiver, a 4th-ranked cornerback here. So I really just attacked the areas of need, of course. We need a receiver, a fullback, of course, and a couple edge rushers on the team. And then everyone else who I was able to get, I then, of course, went after. But we are going to get another look at some of the people that we did lose, just some of the people that I was in on. So most notably, the number 1 quarterback in the country flipped to A&M. I was in on him. I just wanted the number 1 quarterback since we could get him, and he flipped to A&M. And then we lose the number 2 running back to Virginia Tech. The number 1 center in the country goes to Michigan. 3 huge losses here. The number 2 receiver goes to Fresno State. These are all teams that we are concerned about. The number 1 tight end goes to Indiana, of all places, man. We lose the number 4 receiver to A&M as well. A&M really kind of bolstering here. The number 5 defensive tackle going to South Carolina, staying in conference, unfortunately. So was the number 1 right end who we really wanted. He goes to Tennessee. The number 8 receiver goes to Oregon State. Number 5 right outside linebacker, we lose to Nevada. Weird. weird. And the number 6 left end is going to South Carolina. He's staying in state. So South Carolina we might have to worry about here as they kind of bolster their defensive line with some of the prospects that we were looking at. But we still have the number 1 class in the country somehow. I have no idea how, but we still somehow managed to finish first. As I've said for years now, I'm not even trying to do that, but we managed to do it every single year. I don't know how, but A&M here with 25 total recruits, 13 of them all 3-stars. So A&M will be a fun team to watch heading into the season, that's for sure. Oklahoma with 11 4-stars, another interesting kind of inflated number here. South Carolina with 8 4-stars, so we should still see the Gamecocks be pretty competitive in the conference moving forward. They've put together a couple very nice seasons, but just have not been able to get out of the eastern side of the conference as Tennessee still manages to do it. But Tennessee, speaking of, is here at 22. Ole Miss in our conference at 23. Southern Miss staying good here. And then Maryland, who finishes 8-5 after last year, man. After back-to-back national championship running seasons, they only won one of those, but or actually, it wasn't back-to-back, but the last 3 years they were in there. But either way, now looking at the training results here, we have a lot of breakthroughs, man, a ton of breakthroughs, and a lot of those numbers and overalls right next to their names, those are all favorable numbers. So I was worried. Every year I'm worried going into this screen here, just about how the team is changing and developing, or maybe regressing and not developing. But this year we're getting a huge boost from training, a lot of moderate and breakthrough developments, which is very important because a lot of the people that are left that are going to be replacing a lot of the starters that we lost after last season, they were not very high heading into the season. So now there's a couple guys that are really going to step forward, and we're going to see some pretty big changes here, and maybe even get a couple of positional battles, which I don't know, you might not believe, but once we get to the depth chart here, you're going to see fully here just how much turmoil we might be in on our rosters. So Ryan Barton, now a junior, is going to start here at a 93 overall. Stanford Matthews is a 92, but he's faster, so maybe if we want a scrambler, we might go to Matthews. Yeah, they're both juniors, so I don't think it'd be a huge problem. Lehman is going to be their starting running back over J.J. Wright. J.J. Wright's a little bit faster, but Lehman is a little bit stronger, so I'm wondering if maybe a little bit more physical running back is probably the better way to go. So we're going to go with Lehman over Wright, because Wright didn't really produce how he wanted him to last year, and I'm really looking for a big contribution from the running back position moving forward. Robbie Tanner, a sophomore, is going to be starting fullback at 79, man, 79. Thomas Samples is now the leading receiver at 97 as a senior. Max Price all the way down to a 90 as a junior now. And then, of course, we have Andrew Solomon now a junior as well at 86. And then we have a whole slew of our freshman receivers from the 4 down to 6 and 7 spots on the roster. So Broderick Black, a sophomore, up to 81, is going to be our starting tight end. Antonio Watkins now back for a senior year at left tackle. Matt Marsh, a senior, up to a 98 at left guard. Aaron Jones, the junior, is going to start at center at 88. And then Damon Kirkland, the sophomore, we might move around. But Jimmy McKenzie, the senior tackle, is going to start on the right side. And we're going to move out Kirkland for Campbell, He was just a little bit better. I don't want to waste the talent of Campbell, so I think we're going to try and find a way to make Zach Campbell a starter here on this offensive line somewhere and then bounce out Kirkland. So on left end, it's going to be Gavin Vann, the sophomore. Right end, Daniel Haley's probably the worst starter on the team here. We had to completely rebuild that position. He's a freshman. Kellen Cunningham starting defensive tackle at 95. Tremaine Jackson's going to be behind him at 89 as a junior. Jesse Peterson's going to start on the left side. In the linebacking core, Pat Burks up to a 99 as a junior is going to be in the middle. And then Tavares Bird as a senior is going to be a 93. And then we also have Dominic Witten, who had a nice little postseason run at the end of last year. He's a 94. And so I'm going to stick with Beard because he's a 90. He's a lot faster than Witten is. So Harold Frazier is going to be the top DB. CJ Bennett's going to be behind him as a senior. Desmond Hastings is going to be third on the depth chart. A lot of consistency at the cornerback position. Fabian Schmidt fourth, and then Joshua Bowen, the freshman, here at fifth. Neil Goodwin's going to start at free safety as an 89. And then Tyler Kennedy is a sophomore up to a 99, man. So strong safety, we do not struggle with that position on this team, man. We do not. John Bellamy, his senior season, up to an 88, and then Dane Ross, only a 72 as a punter. So, but that's how the roster's looking, man. So a couple holes around the roster. A little concerning, and then here's the schedule, folks. This is what I wanted to unveil. This is what I call the gauntlet, folks. We got Texas, we got Fresno State, the defending national champs, we got Virginia Tech, who's ranked number 1 entering the year, and then the team that we just beat in the Sugar Bowl, Florida State. Okay, so we are running an absolute gauntlet heading into year number 9, trying to get our third national title. Can we do it here? We're still trying to race Nick Saban any way possible, but that whole season and everything gets started with Texas in Austin, man. So hope to see you guys there, man, when we take on the Longhorns in one of our biggest games of the series.